Hello, everyone. Thank you for your warm welcome to Toronto. As you heard, I'm from Vancouver, but I was born in Kenya. Can you believe it? First time I've used that. I think I'll keep it. And then I lived in Innisfail, Alberta. Oh yeah? That's great. Close to Red Deer. And I was 6 years old when we moved there. And it was a wonderful place to grow up, except for the fact that I was the packy on the street, or holy hoser, or chocolate ice cream, or whatever the name of the day was. As a 10-year-old, difficult to navigate. But fortunately, I had my cultural community. I'm a Ismaili Muslim, so we had a small community there that I was able to find some strength in. And then when I was 20, we moved to British Columbia in Vancouver. And it was very exciting for me because there was so much multiculturalism in Vancouver. And my mom and dad would love to go to Surrey, an area where there were a lot of Indian restaurants and shops. But every time I'd go there, I still wouldn't quite feel at home for some reason. And hey, Desi, I'm like, I'm coconut. White on the inside, brown on the outside. I couldn't figure myself out. And yet, I still had my cultural community there, and I was a choir singer, so I had this very beautiful, and I still am, had this beautiful community where we could sing together, and it didn't matter what my race or cultural identity was, because we made beautiful music. Lo and behold, many years later, I moved to Toronto on a beautiful project. And when I was about to come here, I had packed my bag for this project, and it was a 2-week project, but something inside of me told me that I'm going to be here for a longer time. I landed on the ground in Toronto, and I knew that this was home. This finally felt like home, but I never thought that I would ever move to the center of Canada. And what I realized once I moved into St. Jamestown was home was on my floor, because there were people from Nepal, from Pakistan, from Kenya, from Korea, from Greece, from the Philippines, from Rwanda, all on my floor. And I could walk downstairs and say Assalamu alaikum several times a day and several times a week, where before I would never be able to do that. All of a sudden, I recognized that my spirituality and my disposition in the world that is informed by my faith was finally in front of me and around me. I finally saw my heart in front of me. I was in a taxi cab one day, and I like to share songs with people, because as a choir singer, you learn multicultural songs, because it was a cool thing to do. And so I was sitting in a cab. I also have Crohn's disease, a digestive chronic disorder, or dis-ease, if you want to call it that. And this one particular night, I was not having a good night. I had just come from the prayer hall. I was spiritually charged, but feeling crappy. And I was sitting in the back of the seat going, ugh, just get me home. I noticed the name on the taxi cab driver's chart, and it wasn't a Muslim name like the other drivers had been over the last few weeks. I couldn't figure it out, but this was a black man sitting in the driver's seat. And I thought, must he be from Kenya? Because if he is, I know a song I'll share with him. And I asked him where he's from. And he said, I'm from Ghana. I think to myself, that's awesome, because I know a song from Ghana. So I start singing. And it's a song that means Kyrie eleison, or Lord have mercy. And the next thing I knew, this man started singing with me. Not only for 10 seconds, not only for 20 seconds, not only for 30 seconds. He sang for a minute and a half. the entire song that I had brought up. In that moment, I sat up higher in my chair, feeling more healed, because there was something that connected us beyond culture, beyond expression, but through faith, through interfaith, through multi-faith, through trans-faith, through pan-faith. And we began talking, and he talked about how he goes to a church regularly, and I sang at an Anglican church as a church chorister, so I told him about that. And then he tells me, but there's sometimes, because I have to drive to make money to help my family, so wherever I happen to be on a Sunday morning, that's the church I go to. And he said to me, every morning I invite the Lord to sit beside me, and I ask the Lord to help me. And at the end of the night, I take the money and I sit on my bed and say, oh God, this money is yours. Help me to know what to do with it. And at that moment, I knew that this was a man that I could fully have trust in. So I asked him, why do I not take care of myself enough so I can be whole and healthy? And he gave me some theories. But what he says to me, at the end of the month, every Friday, just go and take a day of rest. Don't go to work. Don't eat. Make it a day of fasting and just pray. And think about all the things you've done that last month and all the things you want to do in the next month. And the light of your intention will bring you into healing. And so, fortunately, that month, that last Friday of the month was my birthday. And so I felt that on that birthday, I became whole again because of this citizen of hope that I'd met, that was sparked through this song, that I'd learned through some choir in Alberta, where I was the Paki on the street, which connected me back to my roots in Kenya and allowed me to be my fullest self. Thank you.